and I know this is redundant, but it's so important, the things that are concerning our government right now. This isn't no willy-nilly shit that, we're going to get through, um, through the next presidency, and everything. Everything's affected, okay? Completely affected. You have a president that lied to the American people saying that he wanted to make everything America first, right? That was one of his campaign goals. Shut the country down and make America first. So instead of building infrastructure in America first, right? Manufacturing and things like that, and bringing jobs to the American people and good wages and things like that. That is not what he's done. He has done absolutely none of that. Said he was going to bring down prices. Now, people voted for him over fucking eggs. And the eggs, this is my perspective, when they start making vaccines in mass, they have to use eggs. So at the time when egg prices were super high, I feel personally, this is my perspective, that they were making mass vaccinations of some sort, right? So the eggs were expensive. So Trump ran on those eggs being expensive as the reason why he should be in the presidency. At the time, I think it was like, I don't know, maybe $7 for how many? 18 eggs? Something like that. At least here in Vegas. So he ran on that. However, all the other grocery prices were pretty much in check. Gas prices were pretty much in check. Let's see. Utility prices were pretty much in check at that time. All right. At the day we stand now, 2 years into his presidency, jobs have eroded and gone away. Unemployment is higher than it's ever been, right? There's no infrastructure for other, like manufacturing in America anymore. It's none of that, right? It's gone. Never existed, never was built before somebody started trying to implement shit. And all Trump can talk about is ballroom, and something that has to do with his comfort zone, and da 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 da. Nothing for the American people. I haven't heard one thing that this president said he was going to do for the American people. Matter of fact, I watched a video where a clip of his was played, and a news reporter asked him what was he going to do for the American people, and he said, preventing Iran from having nuclear capabilities is more important than the American people. Let that sink in. He said getting money for this war he started was more important to him than the American people. Does that sound like America first to you? Because honestly, it does not sound like America first to me. I want to play this, and I want to for you to listen, and then I have some things I want to say inside of what this person is speaking of. Okay, let's start. I started it over.
So we've got to talk about Donald Trump heading to China, and I want to give you China's point of view, which you may not necessarily have heard before. Trump is set to meet Xi in Beijing, and Trump always likes to brag about how strong America is and how
he likes to brag that she's a friend.
This, guys, China can see everything that's happening in USA, and it's really obvious as we go through the news today. First, this is the Wall Street Journal, and they say Trump's complaints about Iran war leaks prompt aggressive DOJ investigations. The Wall Street Journal has received subpoenas for records of reporters. So basically, Trump's going after various news outlets, right? If it's news that he doesn't like, he'll attack you, send DOJ.
Like a dictator would.
Jail you or whatever, right? The same way Trump threatens to blow up civilizations. And every time Trump does this kind of stuff, or Elon Musk saying, hey, I want to fire all federal workers, or whatever, message of destruction of the day, it weakens the U.S. standing. You're not only weakening the U.S. on the inside by basically going after the best and the brightest people and then filling your administration with lackeys. America's downfall is also being seen from the outside, where you're losing your standing in the world and you're losing your trust and your relationships.
Well, we already know that's happening.
I'm deeply saddened by this. I just want to be frank with you guys. And it's sick because the MAGA people think that's a good thing for whatever reason. This whole MAGA stuff is weird, as you guys know. And so then the result ends up being, this is the New York Times today, China increasingly views Trump's America as an empire in decline, right? Which is not hard to figure out, but I'm just sharing you China's point of view. Also says for decades, many Chinese.
Let me stop right there. Notice that the Chinese president never said that prior to Trump being back in office. But he said specifically, Trump's America he sees in decline. Let that sink in. As if we don't all see this in America. Let's go.
Viewed the United States with a mix of admiration, envy, and resentment. President Trump's volatile second term shattered that image.
This is the next level of good health.
Fucking commercials, man.
The West now, not necessarily like say, because I used to work in China, you would turn on TV and they always talk about their 5,000 year history and China was this great power. But now it's more like we're going to be the superpower passing the West, not just a great power in the past, but like we're going to be the it country. They got the population.
So China is saying they're going to be the next superpower. Let me just say this. Trump has used how much military warfare with some bullshit in the Strait of Hormuz, right? He's used a lot of American military capabilities over bullshit. So when China says that they're going to be the next superpower, they actually can be the next superpower, right? We don't have a president that is cool-tempered, that isn't triggered over any names that are called to him. He gets triggered over everything. He's very emotional. He's a narcissist, and when his little feelings get hurt, then he reacts. To have a president in a country that is worth a shit, the president has to have some kind of decorum and self-regulation, and somebody that can actually not get their little feelings hurt when people talk badly about them or say bad things about them. Okay? So when China says they're going to be the next superpower, they actually can be the next superpower. Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
Got the resources, they got the education, the culture, etc. Right? And this is something that Chinese people are really, really proud of. And it's no longer like, hey, we really want to catch up to the USA. It's like we're totally going to beat them. And this is sort of like when you see Trump on a daily basis, is a fool.
Hi, Jeannie.
It should be obvious to anyone. And it's sad because America's filled with people like Trump, I'll put it that way, that can't see it, right? And they don't even know where China is on the map. That's how bad
okay.
it is. It's pretty pathetic, to be frank. And I know it upsets a lot of people when you tell people the truth, but I just want to go through it. I need to tell you what's going on. This is also today, it says China seeks AI independence, weakening Trump's leverage, right? Hey, we're going to do things on our own. We're going to build our own technology. We're going to build up our own companies, and we're going to do it more efficiently, right? We're going to have our own power supplies and any number of things. You go through the whole thing if you like. Or this one where she's like thinking, hey, we're going to make a play for Taiwan.
So China's thinking long-term AI, right? However, we have billionaires in America because they have fear of the American people. They're building AI to go against the American people. That's treason. However, you can't reason with people that don't see the writing on the wall, and they take what these billionaires are saying when it comes to AI in America at face value. It's destructive to the American people. They have basically crossed the American people off. The United States of America has been crossed off. The AI that's being used in America is against Americans, period.
Taiwan. She is poised to press Trump on arms sales to Taiwan, right? So USA break your relationship with Taiwan. China wants to step in. And then you get into the rhetoric coming in from China. And I want to read through some of the stuff that he says. I'm just showing you here. This is in the Chinese, but I have some translations here. And these are basically some things that they're in the document. And the document's titled, again, it's coming from a Renmin University in China, like that translates to People's University. The title is "Thank You, Trump: A Chinese Think Tank Assessment of Trump 2.0 First Year in Office." And the reason why they title it "Thank You, Trump" is because of the way Trump has disrupted the world order. China is then now building new relationships around the world. They're becoming more independent, right? Not necessarily dependent on this USA that's completely volatile. And they're realizing, wow, we can be the world leader. Do you guys know what I'm saying, sir? So it's like, it's really, I guess, inspired them, I guess you could say, or give them an opportunity or a window, I guess another way you can think about it. For example, these are some of the quotes that I thought were really interesting. First, borrowing tomorrow's grain to eat today. The problem is tomorrow's always arrives. And so basically making fun of Trump and the US of having an economy that's always built on debt, borrowing tomorrow's grain. And if you ever read through Chinese stuff, they're very colorful in this kind of language. Here's another one, talking about what US and Elon Musk are up to. First, remove the critical gears, then wonder why the machine stopped, right? And there's another line here that coincides with that one is,
Let me tell you one of the critical gears that China is speaking of. America had an immigration workforce that was legit. When it came to Hispanic people, people from South America, building houses, cleaning roads, you name it, food industry, da 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 da. I can go on and on and on. So basically, China is making fun of Trump because he stripped the gears, and Elon Musk and all of those people that were pushing for this immigration reform, da 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 da. And basically, China said, "You just stripped your own gears," and then you wonder why the cogs in the American wheel aren't moving. Let that sink in. Let that sink in as well.
like, the more you break stuff, the more you feel like you have to fix it, or the more you fix something, you feel like you have to keep fixing it because it's like keeps getting worse and keeps breaking. But this is sort of like the USA right now. Remove the critical gears is how they say in the Chinese document, because they shooting yourself in the foot and then wonder why you can't walk. that kind of phrase. One is when I read this stuff, it expands your mind of this like different ways of thinking about the world. And also, as an American, I'm saddened because it's not untrue, right? Here's another one. No matter how beautiful the box, you can still hear it's empty when you knock, right? Describing the USA. Another one. When a friend.
If you don't think that people in China and all over the globe aren't seeing the MAGA supporters of Trump, and that how ignorant they are and how unintelligent they are, and they vote against their own best interests. When China says you are a beautiful box, but there's nothing in there, it's the same thing as saying, nobody's home. Basically, you don't have the intelligence. You can knock, but nobody's home. That's what they're talking about when it comes to the Trump supporters that have supported Trump and put him in office. Trump himself, you fucking knock on his noggin, ain't nobody home. Ain't no fucking body home. Nobody home with reason. Okay?
Who used to talk about loyalty suddenly only talks about money. That friend is usually the one who's broke. I shared this with my wife, and she instantly got it, right?
So that's another thing they said about Trump. Trump's always talking about money, 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 right? And their sayings in China is that if somebody's always talking about money, they're usually broke.
Just think about that. Think about, Trump. It's literally him and his people are always talking about money, right? I'm sure they're broke. And that's how China sees it when it's just so obvious. It's just so obvious.
Look at his Christy Bondi and all of these ladies, who were representing major cogs in the wheel concerning the American government, right? So going back to that, the cogs in the wheel, right? taking the gears out and wondering why America doesn't work. When you put people who aren't good enough for the position that they've been given to run those organizations or those different agencies in America, and they disrupt the cog, right? They disrupt everything that moves and makes America work, like intelligence and the FBI and Homeland Security and all the Homeland Security and all these different things. And then you wonder why things are breaking down. It's because you appointed the worst of the worst to be head of these different agencies, and they're destroying it. They're destroying the cog in the wheel. They're destroying what makes America move and is protected. And China can fucking see it. I mean, everybody can see it that has a brain, but let's just go on.
Here's another one. The more you disrupt it, the worse it works. The worse it works, the more you feel the urge to disrupt it again. That's a similar thing to, like, you just keep trying to fix something and it just keeps getting worse. Another way to think about it is, like, in American terms, would be sort of, if you're married to a dude that, the guy who thinks he can fix everything and doesn't need to hire a professional plumber or whatever, and it keeps, going to Home Depot and getting back and
that's
fix
Trump.
The pipes, and it just keeps getting worse and worse, like that kind of thing. Another one.
That's his administration.
Slogan-driven reform is the single most reliable method for producing the opposite of efficiency, right? I thought that was really interesting. So it's the idea that Trump is always like, hey, we're going to make America great again. And just like this constant campaign mode and slogan mode, but it's just nothing to do with efficiency. It's just like whatever sounds good. Or another way to think about Trump and his policy.
Trump says make America great and has done nothing that actually makes America great. He has destroyed America. In 2 years, in this last presidency, he's legitimately destroyed America. He's destroyed America, and he has done anything but build America up. He has done anything but create an America that is more economically fulfilled. He's done anything but create more wealth in America for the American people. He's done anything but any of those things concerning America, and he's made it dangerous for Americans now. His administration is subpar, not even subpar, to be to run America and make sure that America's safe. This is not going to happen under his administration.
The way America does things right now is just thinking about tomorrow only, not thinking about long term. And again, everything is all in public. That's why, guys, when I go through news every day, I just tell you what people say, right? That's all you got to do. You should be able to see it with your own eyes. And again, I always feel saddened because the MAGA people can't see it. It's ridiculous. Here's another one. The empire's final bell, low, hollow, and mournful. So kind of the last sound the USA makes before the decline. Another one.
And that's the part that makes me heartbroken. That is definitely the part that makes it heartbreaking, is because we are on the last bell. We are trying to warn. We are on the last warning bell. When you go to take the black vote away, which is really a safeguard for the American people as a whole, not just for Black Americans. When you take the black vote away, you're ringing the last bell. And when you go to that dinner table, there will be nothing on that dinner table. Okay?
It was $1 trillion saved, referring to Doge. The result was a government spinning its wheels in place. So basically, working really hard and doing nothing, right? Spinning its wheels in place. Another one. Wound the enemy 800, wound yourself 1,000. Interesting. So from Chinese point of view, Trump's policy, maybe you hurt other countries or enemy 800, but you're losing, you wound yourself 1,000.
Trump is his own enemy. Trump is the enemy of himself. He's bankrupt how many businesses? He is legitimately his own enemy, but he is too dumb to see what type of enemy he is to himself. And the people that follow him and idolize him are too dumb to see he's their enemy as well.
Again, if you've never heard this kind of stuff from Chinese rhetoric, it's just a different way of thinking. Number 10, a tariff war that treats every neighbor as a ditch to dump your problems into. Oh, interesting. Huh. I hadn't heard that one. And then, I'm just thinking to myself about that one. A tariff war that treats every neighbor as a ditch to dump your problems into. Or I was thinking another way you could say it would be like Trump's tariff war is just like digging holes everywhere to put Trumpy gold crap in, right? He's got a lot of problems. Another one, replace expertise with loyalty, then act surprised when things stop working. And it's interesting because you notice
Enough said about that one.
That was with the earlier one that we looked at, to where like, you move the key gears and then wonder why your machine doesn't work. Like this is what Trump at USA is, And the thing that I always stress, you guys don't know as a professor, also if you don't know, I used to teach at Tsinghua University, which is a top university in China. And I can tell you guys, Chinese people are smart. It's hard to explain if you've never been there. It's not just China, it's multiple countries. Simplest example. Many countries.
So we already know that the Chinese and a lot of Asian countries hold the mass in technologies, advanced technologies. You have a president that literally wanted to take coal mining and bring coal mining back, and get rid of solar energy, get rid of wind power and all of those things, windmills for energy. He wants to get rid of all those things because he is not a techie type person. This is where, when you have politics, you need to drop the older people out of the game. Let them be somebody that you can consult back with concerning certain things, but drop them out when it comes to advancing a civilization, because legitimately, you hope that when you have children, your children are smarter and better than you, and then their children are smarter and better than you, and so on and so forth, right? So when you are too old to run a country, you really need to, if you are not technologically savvy, your mind isn't savvy, you don't hold the intelligence that the world is moving in, then it's really time for you to step back and just be somebody that consults whoever's in power, a younger generation in power that can actually get the job done and understand the technology. Trump understands none of the technology, doesn't want to understand the technology. He wants to move America back 150 steps or 150 years in advancements. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is speeding by America. So he's created an environment to make America be a third world country. You need to let that sink in. He doesn't like the technology advancement that we could have. Education is a big thing. China makes it very big in China about education when it comes to all of the children growing up. The young generation in China under the age of 6 knows way more than the majority of high school educated Americans. And Trump wants to destroy the educational system. There's nothing put in place. This is what gets me. You can destroy things that are not working, right? But you have to have something in place that's better than what you're trying to destroy. And if you can't find something better than what you're trying to destroy, then you need to fix the problem. If what you're doing, let's say education in America, it's going to take more money for education in America to get students up to par to match other countries' students of the same age. Instead of doing that, we're doing nothing. We're doing nothing. Trump is setting America back on so many levels.
They learn more than one language. right? And so they're able to communicate and think in different types of ways, right? When I was in China, I started meeting, students of mine who would be like reading books in English, difficult books that Americans wouldn't even read in English. Think about that. Like reading in your second language, works of literature. And it was always impressive. And the number one question that I often get, and it was funny because I never really hear that much in the USA, but you leave, and I went to Tsinghua, and students would always ask me about when is the USA going to stop printing money and stuff like that. They'd always ask about monetary policy. It was the funniest thing. It's just wasn't something that was on my mind all the time, but that was evidently on my mind of the students. And there's multiple things I can talk about. And actually, I wrote about it in my, I wrote about my book. It's called Positive Angle. If you haven't read it, you can.
Just imagine the disrespect that is. That America can only print money, but there's nothing to back the money. That's what the Chinese are saying. The Chinese are basically saying, we got nothing to back the paper that it's printed on. It's basically toilet paper. It's something to wipe your ass on. That's basically what they're saying. We have nothing to back what we print, is what they're saying.
And check it out. It's just, if you ever get a chance to go to China, it's life-changing because you realize there's a whole other world. It's not just China. Go visit lots of places. For me, for example, when I been learning about Iran during this whole Iran war thing, I have a deep respect for Iranian culture. And it's not just Iran. Every country has a different culture and reasons why, they contribute to the world. That's a good way to describe it. And I think every country has something to offer. I live here in Korea and I share things with you guys. And, I like to learn about the world. I think it's a good thing. But yeah, when the Chinese are talking about USA, it says replace expertise with loyalty, then act surprised when things stop working. And the Trump people just constantly attack education, so they hate people who can think. Here's another one. The government shutdown stopped being a negotiation threat and became a demolition tool, right? And basically they were looking at internal politics in the USA and can just see that it's completely broken, essentially. Another one, which is very similar, that we've heard before, spending tomorrow's money to buy today's applause. Very clever way of saying it, right? Spending tomorrow's money to buy today's applause. And again, it's Trump and his short-term thinking. Another one.
Well, this is the thing. Trump is a narcissist, so everything has to be about him. Everything has to be about praising him, lifting him up. They literally made a golden statue and put it on his fucking golf course. And if you and I said, I'll repeat this. If you know anything about the Bible, I read the Bible for over 30 years. Okay. One of the scriptures talks about the golden calf. Trump is the fucking golden calf. He's idolized by these MAGAs. He's idolized by these Republicans. He is a problem. And if you go and you read the scriptures, there is something to pay for anybody that is into idolatry, and they idolatry worship Trump, period. And he has to be praised, or he's going to do something to either get on somebody's nerve to be the center of attention, or he's going to, no matter what, he's got to be in the center of attention. Narcissists are like that. We don't need a president like that. Next president, we need to start having, and I'll repeat myself, we need to start having psych evaluations, serious psych evaluations. We have to do a lot more delving into the president's background, because how didn't they know? If you were trying to get a job in government, a very high up security job, right? They would be running all kinds of background checks on you, and they would know everything that you've done. However, they bypassed it on Trump. Is this where we're at? We have fallen so far. Let me just say, we've fucking fallen so far.
Populism doesn't build consensus; it spends it, and it's been spending fast.
This is the Chinese.
So,
what the Chinese think about us.
Trump's policy is at the end of its rope, right? through populism, trying to like the MAGA and, based on slogans, these kind of things. What was once an undercurrent of division has become a tsunami. So basically saying that Trump is dividing the USA into, tsunami, if you want to say a storm, these kind of things, like making it worse, basically. Inch by inch, pushing America toward the edge of something that has no good names. Like, how do you even talk about America's decline? Call them the deep state, then you don't have to argue with their evidence, right? So that's the idea that Trump is always attacking media, attacking his political opponents, right? And saying there's some grand conspiracy or whatever.
Oh, that's the part I wanted to get to too. The deep state thing, because I've heard that over and over and over again about deep state from Trump and all of these MAGAs and all of these Republicans. They are literally trying to create their deep state with AI with these billionaires. Are you guys fucking nuts? Do you not see what is happening? There was no deep state. Okay? Until Trump is creating it now. All right? Anyways, enough of this. Have a good afternoon. I could go on and on and on. I could be bitching and complaining about how fucking dumb people are.